Welcome to Boondog. This is Bryce. We're going to be diving into the King and Queen of the Ring, or if I call it simply during the video, the Royalty of the Ring. So, that being said, let's kind of dive into it. We've already got 6 of the 8 participants announced for the tournament, for the semifinals. We've had the matches still to come of Jey Uso, LA Knight, Royce Keys, Finn Balor going against each other for the final spot in the men's. In the women's spot, we've got Sol Ruka, Lyra Valkyria, Charlotte Flair, and Jade Cargill. So, real quickly, to break down, if you haven't been keeping up with the tournament, Liv Morgan had defeated Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, and Chelsea Green. And we had Io Sky defeat Roxanne Perez, Julia, and Lash Legend, with Raquel Rodriguez defeating Bailey, JC Jane, and Kiana James. But we got Obafemi beating Penta, Sola Sikoa, and Carmelo Hayes. We had Dominic Mysterio defeating Braun Breaker, Trick Williams, and Damian Priest. We had Javon Evans beating Seth Rollins, Tonga, Ricky Saints. And then now we have these matches of, like I said previously, Jey Uso, LA Knight, Royce Keys, Finn Balor. And on top of that, we have Sol Ruka, Lyra Valkyria, Charlotte Flair, and Jade Cargill. So let's start with the women's tournament with the Queen of the Ring. Who I have going into that final match, I think Charlotte Flair and Jade Cargill have a good opportunity to really showcase themselves there. Sol Ruka should have a great showcase as well, being the new Intercontinental Champion. I unfortunately do think while they'll have a good spotlight, Lyra Valkyria probably is going to take the pin, unfortunately. I love her. I love what she's doing. She's doing incredible. But she just doesn't have the momentum that the other three are building on. And I think Charlotte Flair is probably going to capture the win here, especially if you just had Jade Cargill look strong in that last week's six-person tag match. So that's unfortunately where I think will happen. I do love Charlotte. I don't mean unfortunately in that way, but I do think Lyra's probably going to take the pin there. And we're going to get Liv Morgan and Charlotte in the semifinals. And before I dive into the semifinals of the women's bracket, I do want to address one thing that has not been addressed. And some people have been doing this on YouTube and social media, but that is the lack of SmackDown talent on this card. We have 6 of the 8 participants for the semifinals announced by the time of this recording, and not a single one of them is a SmackDown talent. Now, as a USA executive, I would not be exactly thrilled about that. So you got to think that there's probably going to be some sense of at least one member being in there. Are we going to have no members of the SmackDown roster in the semifinals for either bracket? I don't think that's necessarily the best play there. And I pause there because how do you address that, right? You don't want Netflix to look superior than USA because that's not good when contract negotiations come up. So, do you have Charlotte? And I think more likely than not, Charlotte's probably going to pick up the one here to be the representation. And I think Jade's probably going to not be factored into the pin there. So, like I said, Charlotte's probably going to represent the SmackDown here. I don't think it's going to go very far, though. So, diving into that, though, I think that Liv Morgan's probably going to beat Charlotte to go to the finals. Like I said, I think Liv Morgan's going to pick up the win here. I think Charlotte's going to have an incredible match with Liv, but ultimately they're pushing this narrative that the Queen and King of the Ring, the royalty of the ring, is going to be Dom and Liv, and this is not what I think is going to happen. It's what I feel WWE is going in that direction of, and so ultimately, whether or not do I agree with that, is that the right direction? No, I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's more than likely where they're aiming towards, and it's kind of hard not to see that when you look at what can go, and also what I think is going to happen during this tournament as well. So let's take a look at the other side of the bracket here. Io Sky, one of the greatest wrestlers in the company currently to this moment, and Raquel Rodriguez. Let's be realistic here. I think a lot of people are thinking that Roxanne's going to be the one that goes and gets kicked out of the Judgment Day. I think this is a red herring here because let's look back months of it in the past where that was Raquel and that was her story. I think this is supposed to be a red herring to throw you off and throw yet another surprise. Triple H has done a great job having surprises, having upsets. I think this is ultimately one. Whether or not Liv and Raquel are beefing in the finals, or if that's something that starts and that implodes at the end of the match, I don't know. But I do think it's going to come down to a Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez finals. I think that's what WWE's going to. I think Raquel's going to get the win, and we'll have those two battle it out for the world title at SummerSlam. So we've talked about the Queen of the Ring tournament. Let's gear back to the King of the Ring tournament here. Like I mentioned before, Obafemi, Javon Evans, Dominic Mysterio already qualified for it. Who's left? Jey Uso, LA Knight, Royce Keys, Finn Balor this Friday. Who wins? That's a tough decision. And it's hard to make that decision. But also at the same time, let's look at it together. Let's break it down. Jey Uso, LA Knight. Do we need all the wrong guys to be on this semifinals? Going back to what I mentioned about the women's, do you have representation to make USA executives happy? I think in this case, as much as I'd love to see LA Knight get the win, and to me, realistically, out of the 7 participants remaining, he's one of the 2 that makes the most sense to challenge Roman Reigns, especially with the build-up of the story. That doesn't mean that there won't be a WWE champion and one contender out of this tournament, though. So I do think Jey Uso, LA Knight, they're going to eliminate each other. I think Royce Keys is going to have a great showing, but he's going to dive more into that story that he's had with Solo, where Jay's probably going to cost him the match and finally push him over the edge on why he would team with Solo against Bloodline. That leaves Finn Balor. Now I'm a little bit somber in this, and I get a little bit more quiet here because there's been so many times that you see the news reports. They view him as the sheriff. He's the guy. He's getting a renewed push. Is this the time? If there is ever a time, is this momentum? I think Finn Balor will capture the win here. Fresh scenery, SmackDown's a new place. And once again, going back to having representation in this tournament from SmackDown, you need it. Finn Balor needs this. He is an incredible athlete, an incredible star, and deserves all the praise. This is his time. Like I said, the other 3 are going to cancel each other out. Finn's going to get the win. 1, 2, 3. All right, so now that we've got the semifinal set, Obafemi, Dom Mysterio, Javon Evans, and Finn Balor, how does this proceed? Now, a lot of you guys are thinking, the winner of this is probably getting a world heavyweight shot. No. I think what we're going here is a WWE championship shot. I think that Obafemi, Dom Mysterio, Dominic's going to get the win here. And a lot of you guys are like, well, let me go ahead and turn off the video. Not what I want to see. But hear me out. He's called Brock out once more. And I think very possibly that you could do the Night of Champions match with him and Brock. Because who's to say he doesn't retire in Minneapolis in SummerSlam? And who's to say it's not Obafemi? It could be. It very well could be. Or he very well could not retire. Just because he's in his hometown for a big show doesn't mean he's retiring. Especially if he, even though there's been told, with like Cena saying back in December that he wants to wind it down, that's not necessarily the case here. Especially once you do a false retirement right at WrestleMania. Like, it's not a guarantee that now he's going to go retire. Like, I'll give an example. If you haven't seen The Walking Dead, quick spoiler. Glenn. When Glenn died in The Walking Dead, they did a little bit of a cop-out right before where he fell into the dumpster, fell off the dumpster with another character, and it looked like he got killed. And then they bring him back for a couple episodes just to kill him off again. My point being, it's not impossible for them to do that with Brock, but it's just not likely. So, I think that we probably get Oba and Brock at some point, and that's the reason Dominic gets to go to the finals. All right, so let's take a look at the other side of the bracket. We got Javon Evans and we got Finn Balor. I think we're going to go with the Finn Balor win here. I know that it sounds like you guys are like, oh my goodness, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio again. It was a great match at WrestleMania, but do we want another WrestleMania rematch? And a lot of people are probably not wanting that, and that's okay. I'm excited for this, though. I think that you're going to come down to a Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio match, and let's take a look, guys. I might have said this before already. Let's take a step back. What I'm doing is what I think WWE is going the direction. It's what Triple H I think is building towards, not what I want to see. Uh, and not that I don't want to see it, but it's what I think is Triple H's vision, not what I want to see as the vision. So I think Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor is going to be the finals. I think that Finn Balor is going to pick up the win and solidify it because his last match was a win against JD McDonough. He's built up a lot of momentum here ever since his face turned. That match with CM Punk for the World Heavyweight title really did a lot of good for him. So, that being said, I think this will finally pay it off. I don't think Dom's going to be hurt with another loss. I think that's okay. I think that we're ultimately going to look at Finn Balor only having more momentum here and challenging Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. Could he capture it? I think he could capture the championship, but we'll see. But wait, there is just one more thing I want to address here. I've been a little bit somber, a little bit quiet in this video, and a little bit serious. But let's dive into it. Let's end on a great note here. Let's dive into that fantasy booking piece there, though. We had that bracket that was announced on WWE.com. Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn replaced Tala Tonga and Ricky Saints. Now, is that something that we're going to see played out here? While, maybe Ricky and Tala were going to get taken out before the match. Is that the case that maybe they're taken out during the first round? Do we have at least Drew McIntyre come back and take a spot in the first round match? Or does he take Javon's spot? It's a tough question there. Where does that go? Think about it. Obafemi beats Dominic Mysterio, goes to the finals, goes to Night of Champions. Brock Lesnar intervenes. And guess what? Claymore, 1, 2, 3. Just like Saturday night's main event, Drew McIntyre is a part of something that cost Obafemi something big, a big win in his career. Could this be something similar to that? That leads to Brock Lesnar and Obafemi at SummerSlam to lead the Drew McIntyre challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship against Roman Reigns or the WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes. More likely Roman if he was to do this, since we've already seen several matches with Cody beforehand. I think this could be the change that Drew needs. The switch to Raw that Jacob had as well. The World Heavyweight Chase. Do we get another match there? That's some things to talk about. That's the interesting about this, though. There's some things there that weren't supposed to be told by WWE, that were leaked by WWE, that could affect how it goes down on Friday. I could be crazy. Probably am. But what the odds would be if something so wild and unpredictable in a tournament that feels so fresh because of its unpredictability comes into play there. I want to leave y'all with that. But most importantly, the last thing I want to tell you guys, trying to be super positive because I've been not positive in some of this and I don't like that. But enjoy the show. Enjoy the rest of the tournament. That's the most important part, guys. Let's have some fun. Let's discuss this. I probably am crazy. What I'm about to say probably isn't true. But you know what? I'm having fun, and I hope you do too. Take care.